Hey Dan, what movie are you excited to see this summer? Find out by watching this episode and how you can win this amazing omnibus. Stay tuned.
This is the season. Won't you blow on me?
Yes. Have y'all ever thought about reading some comic books?
It's a comic? Guardians of the Galaxy is a comic? No, that was just a movie.
I got this one.
B comic book.
You know what? It was a B and C character-driven comic book, but that's what made it great. So everything you liked about Guardians of the Galaxy movie can be found in these wonderful books. These right here.
So there's a talking raccoon?
There is a talking raccoon.
Why didn't it have to get made?
But we won't get to that yet. It all started in the year of our Lord, 1969. Marvel Superheroes number 18, which introduced Captain Vance Astro, which we all know later on as Major Victory, Charlie 27.
Yeah, I totally knew that.
Obviously.
Charlie 27, Martinex,
Who?
and of course, this one you guys will know, Yondu, right?
Oh, he was in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh God.
Was he the guy who whistled?
Yes.
These characters were obscure characters. They were the last of their race, and they were in the 30th century, fighting the Badoon. These characters sporadically appeared in other Marvel comics, like the Thor and Captain America, and the Avengers, and
And they still never caught on.
Why did
there was no comic book. There was no Guardians of the Galaxy comic book. It wasn't until the 90s with Jan Valentino, one of the guys that took off and went to make Image Comics, took some of these characters and made the Guardians of the Galaxy comic book, which reintroduced against Vance Astro, Major Victory, who's a human being who also resides in the 20th century as Marvel Boy, part of the New Warriors, which
And this 90s Guardians of the Galaxy started right about the same time as the New Warriors book.
Correct, yeah. Even those
Because, I remember picking them both up and being, oh, this is the same guy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Vance knew that he would one day become Major Victory. Major Victory's a cool character, like he carries Captain America's shield. Charlie 27 comes back, Martinex and Yondu, and they're joined by characters like Talon, Starhawk, Nikki, Alita, Ogord, Firelord, Replica, Talon, and Yellow Jacket.
This almost sounds like a dare. Like, hey, let's take all the characters that no one knows and see if we can make a book
Well,
out
no,
of
they
it.
made up a lot of new
This was
characters for these
during the
books.
seasons, or the time when Marvel had all these late properties, and they were kind of rehashing some of these older characters and pulling them into different properties.
But it was pretty cool because it was characters like the Avengers in the future. Is pretty much like tomorrow's Avengers is probably what they were known as. So it went on for about 60-something issues, and they got canceled. And you never heard the term Guardians of the Galaxy again. And then there was a crossover in 2006, and that was Annihilation. And the sequel to Annihilation was called Annihilation Conquest, where the Phalanx, we talked about this in our top Marvel crossovers, where the Phalanx were taking over all these universes, and Star-Lord, the miniseries, is where all these characters were reintroduced. Like, none of the original cast was back, but Star-Lord made his own Guardians of the Galaxy to go out on his suicide mission and stop, these Phalanx forces. This book came out. This is Guardians of the Galaxy, and you may recognize some of these characters because this team was now made up of Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Adam Warlock, Mantis, Bug, Moondragon, Quasar, Jack Flag, and Cosmo the Space Dog.
Now you're just making up stuff.
It was just an ensemble of, like what you said earlier, B and C characters that Marvel wasn't doing anything with. And these two writers, DNA as we like to call them, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, just magic. Like amazing stories that focused on stopping these threats from the cosmos, Thanos,
Thanos.
You may know that guy.
Everyone knows
They were
Thanos.
part of this amazing storyline, War of the Kings. And the lineup changed. You know, some characters died, some stayed, but it was a really fun story, and a lot of it continued into the Nova series, and then it all kind of came together in a final miniseries called the Thanos Imperative, where the original Captain Marvel had this clone version, the one that died of cancer. There's this place called the Cancerverse, and
Let's not go there.
where's evil versions
You
of
got
all
cancer.
of all these characters, and that's where Thanos is residing. So, at the end of that series is where Star-Lord and Nova died, along with Thanos, because they stayed behind. Marvel had the idea to come up with a movie in 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy, based on these characters here that DNA kind of put into the spotlight.
And like the first time I'd heard some of these characters, truthfully, was Marvel vs. Capcom 3, because I think Rocket Raccoon and some others were in the game. Like, who is this raccoon dude?
Yeah. So they decided to give the title to Brian Michael Bendis. What he did is, okay, these guys, they made the Cosmos a big threat. Like anything that the Cosmos threw at the Guardians of the Galaxy, they were going to put a stop to it. This guy, the very first run that Brian Michael Bendis did, in the first issue, he was like, Iron Man is going to go to space with these guys because he likes their style.
Okay.
So Iron Man joins the Guardians of the Galaxy. There's nothing really that happens within the first few issues except Angela crosses over. Angela was a character created by Neil Gaiman that showed up in Spawn #9. She was an angel, co-created by Todd McFarlane and Neil Gaiman. There was a huge lawsuit going on about anyway, that went on for decades. Marvel out of nowhere decided to make a big deal and say, we're going to buy that character.
So isn't that an Image character?
It was, and now she appears in Guardians of the Galaxy. Adds nothing to the story. Absolutely nothing. We get Venom that joins. Not Eddie Brock Venom. Flash Thompson Venom. And then we get Carol Danvers that joins. That actually makes sense. But all she does is just complain about missing Earth and like, oh man, I miss my friends on Earth and things like that. So nothing really happens. All the characters that we loved, all the back characters that we love, like Cosmo, Mantis, Bug, Jack Flag, the characters that appeared in this are all gone, right? They're no longer in the Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just the main characters that are in the movie, and I think that's how they sell this book. Regardless of who's writing it, people are still going to buy it because they're like, oh, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. They have a movie. So they loosely based these characters from the movie. They redid like Star-Lord's origin to kind of match up the movie a little bit more. The Thing joined for a while. Kitty Pryde became Star-Lord for a little while.
This seems really
And now
random.
everything is back to normal.
Like you're just making stuff up.
No, I mean...
It
feels
sounds like
like
that, but the thing is, that's in many ways that's almost true to the whole idea of the Guardians of the Galaxy name. Bring it back full circle is it's kind of just a bucket in which we're going to put characters, and see what works out.
Duggan is going to take over the book. All new Guardians of the Galaxy comes out here in about a week or two. So, he's the guy that wrote Deadpool. He was writing Uncanny Avengers. I enjoyed his Deadpool run a lot more than I enjoyed Uncanny Avengers. So I guess we'll see where this goes.
Are you telling me that I need to read something else to get ready for the new Guardians movie that's coming out?
I'm telling you, you should stop what you're doing and read this omnibus right here, which we're giving away in this very episode. So, stay tuned to the very end to find out how you could win your own copy of Guardians of the Galaxy. This one right here, even though it's been open and read one time, it's still free, and it's a big book. So I'm telling you to read this. Because this is a really fun book, and it's a standalone. I mean, you don't have to read War of the Kings to know what's going on and things like that. They do a really good job of summing
So we
things
can
up.
skip the Bendis.
Oh, that's up to you. A lot of people really enjoyed it too. Honestly, I think the art was good. They had some moments that I'm like, he could redeem himself. This is the run that James Gunn loosely based his movies on. Like, he really liked these guys.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm thinking. It seems appealing.
And I keep pushing on this book and ignoring the rest of the Guardians. Don't get me wrong, Jim Valentino's run was a lot of fun, but it was about characters in the 30th century fighting evil that, like Wolverine's great-great-granddaughter and things like that. Things that don't really matter in the long scheme of things. Or Bendis' run is about the characters, like being stereotypical one-dimensional characters that are loosely based on the movie characters. This run was just big threats were happening and these guys were putting a stop to it. The sad thing about this, though, is that these guys do not work together anymore. like Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, decided to part ways. These guys have written so many books together for years. And after this run, about a year or two later, they decided to... They don't even talk to each other. James Gunn got them together to do a prelude comic book before the 2014 movie hit. And they didn't even work together on that. They emailed each other, and not even each other, but their publicist or whomever it was. Like a middleman was reading their emails to each other, and that's how they worked on that comic book. So whatever
Did a woman get in the way of that?
What one would think, right? I don't know. Any interviews I've ever seen with those guys, nobody ever asked that question because I'm sure ahead of time they're told, don't ask that question, right? So nobody knows what happened to them. But it was a huge enough fight that they are no longer working together. So we can never really recapture the magic that this. So that's why this book is really important to me. That's why I keep pushing it. It's a fun read. And I definitely recommend it to anybody that read comic books or is semi-interested in what the characters are based on.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. And as I promised in the video, this is how you can win this Guardians of the Galaxy Omnibus. All you have to do is be a subscriber, like the video, and comment down below with a character that you want to see from the comic books appear in future Guardians of the Galaxy movies. You have until May 5th at noon Eastern Time to put in a comment. One comment, and that's it. And we will announce the winner later on that day through this channel. Have a good day and good luck. The Green Lanterns were not the last of the race. I should whip my dick out and smack you with it for even making that comparison because it makes no sense.
You couldn't reach my face.
He didn't say smack you in the face.